Well, hey there, and welcome to a brand new episode of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hassman, and I am incredibly excited today to be joined by a new friend from all the way across the world. He's the Aussie Hermit. Luke Charlton from Australia is joining me. Thank you so much for joining me, man.
Pleasure being here, Kirby. Looking forward to the interview.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I wasn't planning on asking, but I feel like I'd be remiss if I don't ask, why are you called the Aussie Hermit? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm sure we'll get into it a bit later, but I call myself that in my emails. It's for entertainment effect in my emails more than anything. However, there is an element of truth to it. So, I spend a lot of time at home. I'm kind of a hermit. So I have two kids that I take care of, but I'm someone who likes to spend time inside, basically. So that's basically it. So I've just kind of exaggerated that part of my personality and inside my emails.
That's what we do for marketing sometimes. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So first question for you really is just, can you talk a little bit about a project that you're working on right now that has you totally fired up, and why?
Oh, that's a good. I always love. So I run ads for a small handful of clients, and I coach. The main part of my business is coaching other coaches and service professionals how to get more clients online. So I always love doing that. That's like my passion. But what I'm particularly fired up about right now is a podcast. I'm actually launching a podcast, just like what you're doing right now. So I've already recorded the first 14 episodes. It hasn't launched yet, but those episodes are ready to go. And I just, all I do is I literally just pick up my phone when I've got an idea. Like if I am working on a client campaign, I go, oh, that's a good teaching point. I'll literally just pick up my phone and record it. And it's really enjoyable. The first 14 episodes, I just love being able to just pick up, do a quick recording, and then that gets sent off to my virtual assistant and she does the rest, right? Upload and everything. So I am really enjoying just being able to have, because with email, which we'll talk about in a minute, I'm sure, is you have to kind of sit down at your computer, you have to write the email, and it's a little bit more cumbersome in that way that you have to kind of be in front of a computer or even typing on your phone, where a podcast is just as simple as picking up your phone and recording.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. Well, I can't wait to check it out. That's awesome. That's really good. So, you kind of leaned into it there. So I want to ask, you've had some incredible success in marketing your own business. But one of the things that you've said is you've done it without a funnel. So can you tell me a little bit more about that? Yeah.
So as I said, I run ads for clients. I have had a lot of success with all types of funnels. Tripwire funnels, like low ticket funnels, webinar funnels, 5-day challenge funnels, and I just spent $50,000 on a 5-day challenge funnel last week for a client. So I can get results with those funnels, but for me personally, and for the coaches and clients that I teach, I don't use a funnel. I do it more so to show other coaches who are earning under 6 figures that you can have good success with a really simple client attraction system. I just think funnels are a bit too complex for people who aren't marketing professionals, or if you're earning under 6 figures, there's a lot of different variables you have to get right. So what I teach is, look, all you need is to build your list in a really simple way, which is with a lead magnet. So for those that don't know what a lead magnet is, it's just like a free guide or a free checklist, some type of free short bit of content that you advertise that might take you an afternoon to put together. And that bit of content is obviously directed at your dream client. They say, yes, I want that bit of content. I want that free guide, that little booklet, whatever it is. So mine's called the 9 email offers that get clients for free. Okay. That's my free guide, my lead magnet. So I advertise that. People go, yeah, I want that. They click on it and they put in the name and email address. Like, that's how you generate a lead. And it's as simple as that. So when I say I don't use a funnel in the traditional sense, when we use the word funnel, it's more of these complex type things. But that's kind of like I don't call that a funnel. It's just kind of like a simple lead generation strategy. And then from there, I just send 1 email per day. Like, that's it. That's literally the whole strategy. Very simple.
That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah. Simplifying, I think, makes a ton of sense, because I've been on both sides of that, where it's like, where you just do the lead magnet, as you said, and like, okay, well, that's cool, because if the lead magnet is good, you're going to get some results. But then, man,
Right.
you hear so many people talk about automation and everything. You're like, oh, that sounds amazing, but you're right. You have to think about 1,700 different details
Right.
to sort of get that right.
And that's the reason why I teach this, is because I went down that path. Like I started my business in 2013, and I'm like most coaches and experts, we love all the automations, right? We love the funnels, and because it makes it feel easier. There's an easier way to get clients. But what that does is it often bogs us down for months, because a lot of these funnels, as you have to set up automations, you have to create multiple products. You have to be quite good at copywriting. You have to know what you're doing. And so what happened for me, and what I see a lot of happens for a lot of coaches and experts, is that it bogs them down for months and months, and sometimes years. Mm-hmm. And, the opportunity, not only does that waste a lot of time, but the opportunity cost as well. Like I wish I knew what I know now, right? Back when I started, because I would just keep it simple. I just build my list and email my list. And, and that's all you need to get to a 7-figure business, right? You don't, and that's kind of like what I'm showing coaches. Now, one day in the future, will I go back and create a more complex funnel? Maybe, but I'm showing coaches you don't have to do that to be successful.
Yeah. Well, you've become, you obviously mentioned you're doing a ton of email. You're getting success with email. So what are the 3 things for me or anybody listening that can do right away to have better results with emails?
Yeah. So probably a good way to experience this is to look at the emails that I send on my email list. Now, you don't even have to opt into my email list to see my emails. They're just on my blog. So you just go to lukecharlton.com/blog. You can see them there. But the way that I do emails is a little bit different to what most, probably the ones that you've experienced. And that's because, like, when I first started sending emails, like most people, you want to send really great content, and you send all this content, and for the first couple of weeks, the open rates are really good, right? But then they kind of dive, and you're like, what's happening here? I'm sending them really great content, but they're not paying attention. But what I notice is that, like, what people are actually paying attention to is YouTube, Netflix, streaming, TV, right? So what is that? Why is that content more engaging than what I'm sending? Is because that content is entertaining. So what I do with my emails is I mix entertainment with content. In the first instance, though, entertainment is key, because that's what's going to get them engaged. So my piece of advice is make them more entertaining. A simple way to do that, as you'll see if you go check out my emails, is just start with a story. Story lesson. I do story. What's the story? It could be anything. Again, go look at my blog for an example. But I get stories from all over the place. Personal stories, client stories. The Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. That can be a great story starter, right? So stories can come from anywhere. Anything that kind of makes you laugh or angry or happy or frustrated, whatever, is a great place to start with a story idea. So you tell the story just like you would to a friend or family member. There's nothing crazy about it. You just tell the story. And then from that story, there will be a lesson. There will be a marketing lesson or a dating lesson or a weight loss lesson, whatever your area of expertise is. You just have to think of it. What's the principle here? What's the lesson? And then once you kind of communicate that lesson, that dating lesson, then you're on topic, right? Now you can transition to the close. Now you can go, hey, if you need help getting more dates or whatever it is, go here. Let's have a chat on my calendar. So story, lesson, close. So what I would say is make your stories or your content in general more entertaining, particularly with your emails. Now, the second thing with emails is you want to be sending them every day. So that's the thing. The great thing is once you create entertaining emails, people will they'll actually look forward to them, right? And they'll want to read them. So I might have an example here. So here's I got this just like 2 days ago. Luke, I have to let you know, I've created a folder just for you. Every single one is valuable info, as in every single one of my emails is valuable info. Thank you. Your copywriting is amazing. So when you start sending emails that are more entertainment focused, you'll get people actually loving your marketing, or looking forward to opening and reading your emails. And then obviously if more people are opening them, then you're going to make more sales. And the other thing is people actually enjoy reading them, now you can actually start sending more, right? yes, if you send emails that people don't want to read, full of content or whatever, that aren't entertaining, yeah, don't send an email every day. But if you send people emails people love to read, send them every day, because it's going to make you more money. I have a very simple formula with email. It goes like this: the more you email, the more money you make, right? The more you email, the more money you make. It's very simple. And particularly if you're running paid advertising, if you want to make your money, make your ad campaigns profitable, because ad costs are a little bit more expensive than what they were a few years ago, you need to be emailing 1 email per day. And then the final thing, what makes an email profitable is the offer at the end. Okay, so if you're sending great emails that are entertaining and they're not getting a response, by that I mean you're not making sales or you're not booking appointments, then the problem is almost always the offer at the end. So what are you promoting in the actual email? And that's giving you that response, right? So what I would recommend in that instance is that you want to kind of test your offers at the end of your email. Try a different headline, try a different angle, try a different hook. If that does that make sense, Kirby?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So those are the three things: make it more entertaining, send every day, and test the offer at the end of your emails.
It's so fascinating. I'm a big content believer. And so the idea of sending an email every day, though there are a ton of people who do that to me, emotionally I push back, right? It's like, oh man, I don't know if they want to hear from me this much. But I think your point about, as long as there's a great story to it, well, then I think it makes a ton of sense.
It's funny you say that, because I started doing this daily email approach like back in 2016. Never had one person send, hey, you send too much email, Luke. You get people unsubscribing, that's fine, but I've never had someone send an email that you sent, except for like literally on the 9th of May. On the 9th of May this year, I got someone sending an email saying, hey, Luke, you send too much email. Is it possible for me to only get 1 email per week? And I took that and I put it into an email and I sent it out. And I said, I was actually really proud of that, because I was actually excited to receive this guy's email, because it's the first one I've ever got. So I said I was gonna frame it or put it in a special folder anyway.
I love it.
So I sent it out and I used that in an email, right? So that's an email idea. So that's entertaining, and it also proves my point as well that if you send emails that people like to read, they'll want more of them.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. So, okay, so cool. This has been great. Final question for you. I've heard that sort of, if you have a great list, then you have a great business. That's a big part of your list, is a big part of the value of your business. So, but how, I assume that your last answer relates to this, but how do you create a responsive list, one that people actually open?
Yeah, it's actually, that's a great question. It's funny because it's just the 3 things that I just went over.
Okay.
So make them entertaining is obviously number 1. Number 2 is, send an email every day, because the more that if you send an email once every 6 months, right? Obviously you're not going to have a relationship there, but the stronger the relationship, the more responsive they can be. Send great offers as well. Now, that's kind of like the email side of things. Let's talk about the lead generation side of things. So obviously, if you're sending out an email, you want to make sure that there's 2 parts to success with. This is really marketing in general, but for email is, you want to be sending consistently, you want to be sending a great offer, but you want to make sure that your emails are going to the right list, right? So I can have a really great email with a really great lesson and a really great offer, right? But if my offer is helping coaches get more clients, and I'm emailing to like mums who are, pregnant or whatever, and they're looking to get help with their baby or, whatever the birth, it's not going to matter. So you've got to have the right list. So I've spoken about the emailing side of things. You want to make sure that the leads that you're generating for your list are obviously, quality leads. And I mentioned the simple way to do that is with a lead magnet, but it goes deeper than that, right? You want to make sure that the lead magnet that you're promoting is going to be attracting your dream client and as best as possible, repelling everyone else. Okay. Yeah. Now, the best way to do that is you want to get very, very clear. Again, this is just marketing fundamentals. You want to get very, very clear on who your dream client is. Like, how old are they? What are all the key demographics? What type of business do they run? What industry is that business? I work with so many business coaches who say, like, I help small to medium sized business owners, and they're not even in a specific industry. So, like, get really specific. What's the industry? What type of jargon and language do they use? How many staff do they have? What's their revenue levels? Again, this is just a business example, but that's the type of clarity that you want. And then you go to the psychographics, like what are their biggest frustrations, their desires, their challenges, etc. And when you get that type of clarity, now you can create a lead magnet that's very specific to that market, where it appeals just to them in that particular industry or that particular career, as an example. And that will get that prospect onto your list. Okay, so that's kind of the two parts of creating a responsive list: is getting the right leads onto your list, and then emailing the right type of emails and the right frequency.
No, that makes a ton of sense. This is great. This is really good. So where can you mentioned it earlier, but just to let you say it again, I mean, where can people find your blog and information about you?
Yeah. So just lukecharlton.com is my website, and my blog's there and everything. But if they want to, I have that free guide that I mentioned called the 9 email offers that get clients for free. So if you just go to 9, that's the number 9, emailoffers.com. Just grab that guide, and that'll put you on my list, and you can see how I do my daily emails. And then you'll also go through that guide, and there's a bunch of great offers in there that you can use at the end of your emails to bring in more appointments and more sales.
That's awesome. Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate you taking the time. This has been awesome.
No,
and I really appreciate you getting up super early to do this.
I'm already up at this time, as I said, so it's all good.
Well, thanks a lot. We'll have to do it again sometime. Okay.
Sounds good. You had a lot of fun.
All right, cool. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.